Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. Congratulations to those who were able to get in at those dollar cost average targets I mentioned previously here in the low 180s. Unfortunately, my limit order at like 169, 170 didn't get filled, but hey, I'm perfectly fine with the alternative, right? So anyway, when it comes to situations like this, always have some kind of spot bag available ready to buy these dips because sometimes these opportunities don't come around very often. It's not super often we get, Trump, pushing tariffs here, and then of course, the price of Bitcoin, everything else is just knee-jerk reaction down. Anyways, we're not here for that. It's not a fundamental analysis, but the truth is we had a bear flag leading into it. We as a community, we had two shorts open with Solana. We took 57% on one and 54% on the other. All targets achieved in 5 days and 12 days. So again, one was a little older, one's more recent. That's the beautiful thing about swing trading is you get some profit from a long time ago or recent. You take a look here, SEI, 100% in 1 day and 7 hours, right? So that's the only short I caught before the price pulled back, but I didn't want to catch a runner, so I didn't add any more shorts to my bag, which I really wish I had, of course, but hindsight's 2020, you never FOMO win. Either way, we took profits on Bitcoin as well, about 40%. We achieved all targets with that guy too. So again, nice little benefit there. While I didn't expect Bitcoin to drop that hard, we knew going into that $106,000 resistance range that it was worth taking a short. So technically we shorted, I think, with an average price of 102,000. So it wasn't like a phenomenal entry, but ended up being a good trade. Along with others. So anyways, I'm mentioning that and throwing that out there because if you'd watched my analysis, you'd know that Bitcoin was exuding a lot of bearish behavior on Saturday, and it made no sense to take longs. A lot of folks unfortunately FOMO'd in because of the Fed meeting on Wednesday, pumped the price action up here falsely, and unfortunately a lot of late longs got absolutely demolished. So we're not here to talk about that, but it's a very real thing. It's very normal and kind of standard. So if that happened to you, I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, a lot of folks did get hit hard, but majority of our community members who listened and pay attention to my trade alerts. By the way, I have trade alerts here kind of giving you insight on coins I'm planning to trade. I gave a pretty firm update on what's going on here. Okay, so we all knew that. But either way, let's take a look here at the back end data here on Solana. Work our way down, kind of see what's going on. Because Solana last 7 days, we have a pretty big chunk at 245. So again, I'm not proposing we're going to see that right now. I do feel like we're going to see some problems with Bitcoin at the 100 to 102K range. I'm recommending to my community not to break out trade. Try not to take a long right now at the top. And I say the top because there's tons of confluence at the 99 to $102,000 range. Why that's relevant for Solana is that we need to recognize that with these liquidation levels, pretty high levels, way far above, there's a decent chance that we'll get hit, but we got to get through some key level resistances first, and Bitcoin needs to maintain that that $100,000 range or higher to see that happen. We could see that today possibly because I think there's a meeting with Trudeau and Trump, and depending on how that goes with the whole tariff thing going on up north, that could spike things, but generally speaking, tariffs are paused for a month with Mexico, and that has a lot to do with the recovery we're seeing here today. All that being said, 245 is kind of the heaviest concentration there locally. I'll pull up some smaller time frames and post that on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. But for right now, if we take a look here, we can see there's a pretty significant amount of bearish divergence. We're getting closer to break even though, and this usually implies shifts in momentum. When you see this in combination with some convergences and or key level resistances being broken, a lot of times the price will continue to break out because short traders are going to get squeezed here soon. Okay, there's a decent chance of that. It all hinges on Bitcoin though. If Bitcoin doesn't survive or maintain 100,000 or higher, I think there's a decent chance that coins will pull back. But keep in mind, Solana is probably one of the strongest coins here as far as recovery and holding its ground versus that of how hard it pulled back. Most coins were down 15 to 30% yesterday or last night. Actually, that was today, as a matter of fact. As soon as the candlestick closed, like everything went down instantly. Asia just opened up with a tear there and just sold everything. Anyways, the whole point of me mentioning this is that Solana is looking very strong compared to most other altcoins. While it did pull back, it didn't pull back quite as hard as others. And while it's not responding or recovering instantly like some coins, it's building its base, and that's a good thing. What I mean by that, we take a look here. 186 and 190 are the two open interest areas here locally outside of this $200 mark. So we can reaffirm the fact that a long on Solana makes more sense than a short. While I think that Bitcoin could reject out here soon and pull back, it may be advantageous to consider getting some skin in the game here, or just knowing that there's a lot of support below us here, where very few coins have this type of these type of controlling points below the price action. So again, keep that in mind. All right, so again, we're only up 2% on the day, but came down pretty significant. At this point, broke down from its bear flag. We'll remove this here as well. We do got to reaffirm and reiterate here, or I want to, that 245 to 260 is a solid resistance range. So if the price does end up coming back up to that level, it would be safe to say that we're probably going to see some kind of rejection, either pullback or some kind of fake out there. Generally speaking, this area here is going to provide some resistance for us. So big surprise, right? It is a resistance range for a reason. So I'll update our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord here. But right now, I just kind of want to get to the meat and potatoes and let you know kind of where we're at. The fib levels are still valid. They're not super monumental, but the key takeaway here is there's a lot of confluence. That 245 range, that's right where the golden pocket is, that 0.618, 0.65 fib level. And so that's kind of where we're at there. Other than that, let's take a quick look here. We'll go ahead and remove this. All that liquidation has been swept. What I want to reiterate and reaffirm here is simple understandings of how moving averages work. So we're underneath the 50 and the 20-day SMA. Generally speaking, that is considered to be a bearish sign. They're not resistances, but they do kind of give us understanding that we're still underneath some key level resistances. So the simple way to recognize it is that we got this 210. We've seen that area before as a potential support. We're going to want to presume that may be the new resistance. So until we close above 210, it may not be best to take a long into that. Same thing with Bitcoin. Don't take a long into 100,000. Wait for it to close above solidly for at least a day or two and then take a long. Okay. Kind of gives you some affirmations that you're on the right side of the tracks. For right now, we're not. Okay. So just keep that in mind. We're also under 50 on the RSI. Generally not a good sign to take a long into. Money flow index is pivoting and bouncing off that normal 20 range, right? And it's common to see a recovery when that happens. So generally speaking, if you see MFI at 20 on either the 4 hour or the daily time frame, you probably have some success buying those dips because the price action will likely recover based on overextension and just being super overextended in one way. It's less common for it to hit 20, but when it does, it's kind of a golden opportunity. 4 hour time frame. We're gonna take a look here. This is an example here. Look at that. It was actually down to 7 at its lowest point. So MFI underneath 20 in any sense is worth taking along. And I'm not talking about a leverage trade either, folks. I'm simply referring to maybe adding to your spot bag. Okay, that's the responsible thing to do. Don't be an irresponsible idiot. Okay. Again, you're gonna get lucky sometimes by taking some high risk trades, but you're gonna start developing this mindset that I've got the golden touch, or I'm going to have higher success because I do this one thing. Keep in mind, what I'm referring to there is kind of a one-off. It's an outlier. You should never take a long into this kind of situation. If you do, take it responsibly. That's kind of the key takeaway there. Okay, again, a lot of folks, unfortunately, last week they got hammered because, well, for one, I was gone for 3 days with my son being born, but more importantly, they took a lot of irresponsible long positions at the top. And I recommended they don't. We opened a lot of shorts leading into it, but not everyone's going to listen. Again, I'm saying this because it's very common. I've done this before myself too. So we need to normalize the fact that people make mistakes, and it's kind of common, and you just got to learn from them, right? If you don't learn from them, you're just going to keep making the same old mistakes. Anyways, conversation for another day as per usual. I have sidebar sometimes, apologize. But we can see stochastic and MACD converging, kind of letting us know that shifts in momentum are occurring. That's normal, but we're still under the 50 and the 20-day SMA. Again, getting over that 210/220 mark is going to be super pivotal for us because we're under 50 on the RSI as well. So we're still a long ways away from taking along with confidence. But the truth is, Solana didn't sell off quite as hard as it should have. We have a lot of support in the 185 to 200 range. If we revisit that $200 range, it may be worth considering a long. Again, just speaking outside of the box, not necessarily from a technical standpoint, but more so from like a supply and demand standpoint. Taking a look at the hourly, let's confirm this here. We're still below the cloud. While conversion line and the baseline are shifting momentum, we got the money flow index. Sorry, correction, that's the lagging span. While we got some positive things here, these two things are nice, and kind of letting us know from a momentum standpoint we're in good shape. We're still not above the cloud, and that's kind of the last confirming factor that I like to find. So the reason why the cloud is important is because it requires patience and confirmation. So generally speaking, you're taking long right now, you're not being patient, you're not waiting for that confirming factor. Okay. The confirming factor is to see, 5 or 6 more hours above the cloud. So that puts us at some time later today, probably about, when the traditional markets close, let's just say 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when you get a new daily candle. If that daily candle is above 210 to, in the 210 to 220 range, then it may be worth considering long. Okay. We got to recognize there's a lot of other confirming factors you need to identify that need to be present at that time, and they're not. So that's roughly where we're at here. So again, The easy way to recognize this is that Solana is not in a position right now where you should be taking a long, at least not responsibly. But it's looking a bit better than the majority of the market. But we don't truly know what's going to happen here soon. I'm expecting a rejection at 100,000 if Bitcoin were to retest that level. That's even if it gets up to that range. We don't even know what's going to happen. So again, just be very careful, folks. Try not to be FOMO kings right now, because most of those people are getting their rear end handed to them. Okay, anyways, conversation for another day as per usual. So I hope you found benefit here. I'll update the charts. I'll post that on our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. Keep in mind, if you're watching this video, the playout chart's already going to be there. But there's a lot of confluence here for Bitcoin at 102 to 100K. So let that be your guide. Bitcoin's kind of calling the shots right now. And yeah, it's very true with Solana as well. Okay, folks, have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video. Thanks again for your time. Take care.